Welcome to the Down the Middle podcast, Battlers. Special episode for number 101. On episode 100, we announced that we've got a special guest. That special guest, well, you would have worked it out. You've read the title of this episode. We've got NRLW superstar Abbi Church on today. G'day, Battlers. We're on. We've got Abbi Church here. Abbi, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Yeah, good. We've already had that conversation, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Abbi Church, for those that don't know, NRLW superstar. We'll talk you up if you don't want to talk yourself up. A Camden local. We've got a lot of Camden listeners. We've got a lot of local listeners, Sydney-based listeners as well. So I'm hoping this one will be a nice popular one. I think it'll be a big hit. Abbi, we'll jump straight in. I feel like I grew up with you. We went to the same primary school and high school, and H was at Elderslie as well. I remember you being just into everything, all sports, like a pocket rocket, fast, agile. Give us a run through, and for the listeners, like what was sport growing up for you?
I suppose you're probably dead on there, Joel. My mum used to call me the Energizer Bunny. So I was into everything and I gave everything a go too. So I didn't have one thing when I was growing up. I kind of dabbled in a few different things. I even tried dancing at one stage, but that definitely wasn't meant to be.
Nah,
But
surely that helps now being a fullback. Yeah.
no, I lasted, I think, one season of dancing and tap and jazz, and it fizzled out very quickly. But I think growing up, I just loved the social aspect of sport. It was just fun for me. I started in netball, I think, when I was probably like
Yeah.
9, and that was my sport of choice. And then I went all through high school and everything, doing representative for that. And I think I did play a little bit of Oz tag when I was around 9. That was probably my intro and I guess my link to football, which my family was always very sporty, and my brother played, and my dad coached and played, and I always watched rugby league on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I suppose, as most of us say, like rugby league wasn't a thing for females back then, so I
Mm.
never thought I never really could play that. I think that would have been my sport if I could have when I was younger. But yeah, I guess even through school, I gave everything a go. Athletics, cross country. I think one of the teachers wrote me into hockey at one stage, but I
You
think I
as
just,
a PE teacher, you absolutely would have been the kid with one or two spots left. We're like, we'll chuck Abbi Church in. Surely she can do a job for us.
yeah, I actually think that was it, because I had no hand-eye coordination with like a bat or a racket or stick, hockey
Stick,
stick,
yeah.
whatever that is yet. And I think she was just like, "Oh, you're pretty quick. You can run around and just kind of whack the ball for a bit." And it was just, yeah, I was very much a fill-in for a few things, but yeah, I just gave it a go. It was a bit of fun.
Yeah, nice. You go. Me. So netball. I reckon I've actually forgotten that you played netball, but now that you say that, that does make sense. Oztag early, only for a little bit. How did you said you would have played rugby league if you could have. How did you eventually? I was thinking touch footy was your thing. How'd you get to rugby league?
I only played touch for school, so
Okay.
I feel like when you're growing up, you're either like a touch footy player or an Oztag player.
Yeah.
It's kind of this little bit of rivalry. I don't know, but I was very much Oztag. Now I wish I probably played more touch, because I think
Yeah.
it's really beneficial, I guess, for development of like your ball skills and stuff. Sorry, I got a
I
fly
could see
flying
that
around my
fly.
face.
For those on
Um,
YouTube, you'll see that fly.
yeah. But yeah, I guess I don't even know where I was going because that fly distracted me. But yeah, Oztag was netball and Oztag. I was never really a touch outside of school kind of person. Um, but yeah, I ended up going on later on to play a bit of rep Oztag and stuff. So I probably just developed that as I got older.
Yeah, right. So then, when did the Rammers come in? When did rugby league come in?
So they started our first. team was league tag, because again, tackle footy wasn't much of a thing, especially in our area for girls. So league tag started in 2016 for Camden Rams and Group 6 comp. And then it wasn't until 2019 that we had our first like tackle footy rugby league comp. I think it was very small. There was probably only 4 or 5 teams in it. And it was actually that year that I guess kicked off my career, because I think one of the old Bulldogs coaches, Dean Pay, he was at our grand final, and he sort of
Yes.
I guess scouted and picked me up to go play in the Sydney comp, the Harvey Norman Premiership comp, which was the, I guess, feeder for the NRLW. So I played Camden footy and then Harvey Norman 1 2 years maybe, and then kind of got picked up and got my first NRLW contract.
Yeah, right.
So
Very
was that with
rapid
the
climb.
Eels? Was that with
Yeah,
the
with the
Eels?
Eels.
Or yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because were they the only club that was really gravitated towards you, or didn't mind sort of?
I would say I didn't mind, honestly. Like back then, I was kind of just like, oh my God, I've got a contract. I did have a couple of offers, I think, that first year, and I think I sort of made the decision to go with the Eels.
Any red and white? No.
No, oh no, not back then. I don't think.
I'm upset.
But my
I'm upset with that.
my mum would have loved that. She's a through and through Dragon supporter, so
That sucks.
yeah.
That's a quick jump, and again, some of the listeners out there, some of the the footy fans out there might not realize that you pretty much went first year of playing tackle in Group 6. You get picked up to then go and play Harvey Norman. Who'd you play for Harvey Norman?
The first
Is
year
that the
was the
Dogs?
Bulldogs, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a weird year because it was COVID.
Okay.
And I'd just been sent rurally for work, so I was kind of doing
Right.
back and forth,
Yeah.
managing that. And we kind of stopped halfway through because of COVID, so that was a
Yeah.
weird year. And then I think the next year after that, I played for St Mary's.
Yeah, okay. So that
Yeah.
that's very quick to then, and I guess that probably also makes a lot of sense. The NRLW sort of shot onto the scene after having the Harvey Norman system already set up for a bit. And I suppose there's probably was there a lot in that first, like for your first year at Eels, was there a lot of you that had only just come from playing park footy that are now at the top tier?
Yeah, there was pretty much bar like, I don't know, 5 or 6. There was mainly our whole squad was debuting
Yeah.
from memory, I think. Or a couple had only played like a handful of NRLW games, because
Yeah.
before that, so the Eels were when we came in, there was a bunch of teams. I think maybe 2 teams came in that year, but there was only like the 4 teams for I think 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
So there was not a lot of girls playing NRLW at that stage. Like it was still quite small. So yeah, the first year there was a number of debuts that year.
Yeah. Now I've looked it up. I've got some stats here. Yeah, you're 26
Yeah.
appearances in. Is that right?
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
You're vice captain.
Was this year. Yeah.
So hang on. So when was your first year at the Eels?
20.
Again, it was weird. It was like 2022, but
22.
there was 2 seasons because of COVID.
Yeah.
So it was 2021, I guess, was first
Yeah,
year.
okay. So you're 3 or 4 seasons in, 26 appearances, vice captain this year. If you think back to, Abbi going from Eels to Harvey Norman, then from the Rams to Harvey Norman, then to the Eels, you're probably more of a veteran now. Do you see yourself as that sort of like that level of leader, having seen, like you said before, that rapid incline?
Yeah, it's a funny thing, right? Because I still feel like I'm a baby, and I just don't feel like I'm a senior person in the group, but I am. Like, not just in age as well, because a lot of the girls that are in my squad and coming through are sort of still that 18, 19, 20 age bracket because they've now got the pathways and are coming all the way through. But yeah, I mean, I was the first sole Eels player to make that 25 games of like single club. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very upset actually. I think it was last year I got put into the I guess the old girls club, the senior club, because of my age. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm young. I'm still one of the babies of the group. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh no, like there's only probably three or four of us that are like under
mid-20s?
Yeah, literally mid-20s. So yeah, I think most of our squad's under 25, and as soon as you hit 25, you're in the ice baths longer, apparently.
How good.
I was spewing.
The expansion of the NRLW this for the next year, technically, with the Dogs and the Warriors, now it's grown to 10. It's definitely a rapid growth from, as you said, from four teams back when it started. Are you hoping that at one stage you will become as many teams as the boys in the NRL?
Yeah, I am. I don't know if I'll still be playing when it gets to like the full comp, like every NRL team having an NRLW team. Just and purely because they can't do it too quickly, and I think they're trying to space it out as the best that they can to allow for that, so that there's still that talent and skill level.
Because they can't take all the young girls to every new club, and then next thing you know, all the other older clubs don't have anyone coming through. I think that's probably.
Yeah, and like there's already going to be so many more debuts into the next season because of the two new teams, and there's still a lot of younger girls coming through, that Tasha Gale, that are going to get development contracts and things. So you've got to be careful to sort of not rush them into the NRLW level, because it sometimes can have the opposite effect rather than I guess boosting them up. It can send them backwards. So
yeah,
I think you've got to be careful. I do hope to see it. I'm just not sure how long it'll take and whether I'll still be around when it does get there.
Well, is it Steph Hancock? Didn't she retire this year? She was like, she's nearly 40 or something. You got
I
heaps
think
of
she
years
was
left,
40
surely.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I hope so. Honestly, I'll play as long as I can, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But I hope I get there, but we'll see.
Yeah, okay. Let's look at this year, because I think, I'm going to be honest, as a Camden local, I've been, I loved seeing your name the first time that you got picked up by the Eels, because I was like, hey, we know her. Like, this is mad. I think I've lost plenty of cash punting on you as first try scorer or any try scorer. But this year, your rapid growth, your rapid incline this year, probably your best year, would you say?
Yeah, I guess so. I honestly, I feel
You
like
don't
I'm
want to
just
talk
playing
yourself
the
up. Do
same.
you want me to
No,
read the stats out again?
no, like I think I've had a few people say that to me, and for me, I just feel like I'm just out there playing football, and I'm playing the same every year, and I think it shows, I guess, in the stats, as you said, but yeah, I think this year probably has been the best of my career, and I'm hoping it'll get better, but it is just a weird thing to be able to be like, oh yeah, it was a pretty good year.
How awesome was it to be getting Dally M fullback of the year, and then to be standing there only a few points shy of Dally M player of the year, though? Like, how does that rank in I don't know, all of your life achievements? Because I know where that would rank in mine.
Well, it got midway through the season, and I actually said to some of my teammates and my partner, I said, like, my name was on the leaderboard. I think I was leading at one point, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm good now. Like, I can stop playing. I'm on the Dally M leaderboard.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, fast forward to the end of the year, and I'm sitting there at the Dally M's, and I I was sitting there with my partner going, oh, like it's just cool to be invited, and I just, I'm only sort of here because I was in the top three when it went behind closed doors,
Yeah.
and then like as they're sort of, bringing out, or not bringing out, but like updating the points for the rest of the year, and I'm still getting points, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, I, ca- I could actually, I could actually be standing up there, and then it was just the biggest shock, honestly, to get the fullback of the year, and then yeah, to come down to like the final round, I guess, against the Roosters to miss out to live.
Did you know?
I was
Did you
stoked,
know
but
before the awards that you were going to get fullback of the year, or is it all just when they
no,
say it?
no. So I didn't know. I'm glad I knew before I walked up there because they did give me a heads up.
Okay. So what, you got like 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes. Like one of the organizers came up and was like, "Oh, so when you go up there, you're gonna walk up the stairs and you're gonna stand here."
And
And
you're
I'm
like,
just
go
looking
off for
at,
what?
yeah, I was looking at it going, "What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean when I go up there? Like, are they t sending the nominees up there or something?" And she was like, "Oh, congratulations, you won fullback of the year." And I was just like, "Oh my God!" I started
That's
crying.
mad.
I was like, "Now I
That's
can't go
mad.
up there. I've been crying."
Duck off. Fix the
Yeah,
eyeliner and stuff.
yeah.
That's
So it was a big shock.
I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, come on, get
Yeah.
there. Was it 2 points? 2 points, maybe? 3 points?
2 or 3, I can't remember. Yeah, there's only a couple.
Was there a game that you remember that you could have got 3 points instead of
Yeah,
one?
there
Oh
was.
no.
Yeah, there was a few. There was
One
actually a few throughout the middle of the season that I was like, oh, that was probably the game, but
one
it
drop ball.
doesn't
You can't
matter.
think too much about
It
that.
doesn't matter. Honestly, I'm stoked. Made my whole life. So
Yeah, that's so good. So good.
yeah,
And then you got the Prime Minister's jersey
yep.
with the number one. So
Number two.
is that, oh, sorry, you're on the wing. Sorry, my bad. My
I
bad.
was annoying. Yeah,
Is
it's
that
all right.
is that her?
I
Sorry.
played in fullback, but yeah.
Um, is that you said you played a lot of rep stuff before. Is that your first Aussie rep jersey? Have you?
I played Prime Ministers last year.
Yep.
So that was the first time that I'd been in the green and gold for rugby league. I
Yep.
played Aussies for OzTag. I played in a
Okay.
couple of World Cups of OzTag, but yeah, that was kind of the first one where I was like, oh yeah, this is almost pretty much a real Australian jersey. So
Nice.
yeah.
What's that game against PNG like? Because that was a bit of a this year. It was a bit of a, I don't know, what's a nice way of putting it. It was a bit of a blowout.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Again, if we're looking at growing the game, how does that? I don't
Because it's
know.
a tough look, really. Right.
I think it like I think you've got to look back and see how far they've come.
Hmm.
And I know the scoreline doesn't show it. But like if you look back a couple of years ago, like their their skill and their ability to play football just was nowhere near what it is at the moment. And I think that the Prime Minister's game in particular isn't just a game of footy. It sends like a massive cultural message over
Yeah.
there because women don't have I guess the rights and
Same privileges that we do over here.
same
Yeah.
privileges and
Yeah.
safety that we have over here. So the Prime Minister's game is more than just a game of football. It's literally like sending a message over there and helping boost up their female population. So I love playing in that game, and obviously like Elsie's my teammate at the Eels, and she
Yes.
didn't play in Prime Ministers, but it definitely like Papua New Guinea's her home, and um, as I said, while the score blew out, I think they've come a long way. And the first part of that game is so brutal. Like they come out so fiery, and obviously they're so strong and powerful. So it hurts a lot that first half, but
Especially for you from the
yeah,
back, taking all those.
yeah, literally like one of the smallest on the field, and they're just the front rowers running at you. So
Is for especially for that one, is there a lot of chat about that, in the lead up, just like what's behind the scenes? Because even I know like the PNG coaching staff, that the profile the type of people that are there and the profile of the people that are there working within that team is much higher than what it would have been only a few years ago. Is there a lot of talk about, just like you said, that cultural significance for not only Papua New Guinea, but also just for the game in general?
There is, and like the whole week camp in the lead up is a massive push for all of that, and all of the media that we I guess have to do. It's about sending that message, and like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but on our jerseys has a message, and it's written in their native pidgin. So they change that message every year, and I can't remember exactly what this year's was, but it's always along the lines of like one game, one heart, or stronger together, or something like that.
I remember the stronger together.
Yeah. So I think just having that on the front of the jersey as well speaks volume to what the message of the game is, because like most of the time the jerseys have got sponsors all over them, and that's what it's about, rather than like sending a message. And the lead up to the game definitely emphasizes that a lot. Like they even exchange gifts and stuff at the start type thing. So yeah, I really love the Prime Minister's game, because it's more than just a rugby league game, and it's not just about the game, it's about something bigger. So
yeah, that's mad. That's mad.
Going back before, you were sort of saying when you sort of started, you're traveling from work to footy, how tough was getting the balance right? Because it would have been, obviously, when the NRLW started, it wasn't full-time, like a lot of the girls obviously working full-time, and then the footy was the part-time. How challenging was that to get under control?
it's still a challenge.
Well, even that, traveling overseas and stuff, you know.
Yeah, like it's still a massive thing in the game. Like I can only speak from my own experience. Like I have to drop down my hours every season, so I go part-time for 6 months of the year to play football, and then the other half I go straight back into working full-time. But a lot of the girls still work full-time during the day in their normal jobs, because they can't get the time off, and then have to still go to football training for, I mean, we're at the field for 4 hours 4 times a week. So yeah, it is still, it's a massive thing still in the NRLW, and it is a lot more exhausting than people probably realize. And it's not just that, like a lot of the girls have got families and children and things as well that they have to think about and worry about, and sort of plan their time around. But yeah, it'll hopefully one day get full time, and it won't be an issue, and it'll be the same sort of thing as the men. But
is the, like, even that you just sort of said, like, is the training, I would imagine that the blokes in the NRL, you know, even just looking at some of the media for their sort of pre-season, off-season training now, you know, they're there at 6 a.m. trying to beat the heat throughout the year. Are you guys training, like, you know, after normal work hours, or are you still training during the middle of the day? Because again, you might not have, you know, you might not have access to either facilities or the people because they're at work.
in season, do you mean, or like?
Yeah, like in season,
off-season?
are you guys, yeah, in season, are you training outside of work hours, or is it pretty much you lock in, or?
Yeah, so it has to be outside of work hours. So part of
right.
our, I guess, work conditions for the NRLW is that they can't, clubs can't put on anything inside the protected work hours, so that I guess the girls don't lose any income from their normal jobs, so that they can sort of balance it a bit better. And obviously, like as I said, I can only speak from my experience at Parramatta, but Para's very good at helping us balance that and getting us early schedules. And, you know, if girls can't get away from work and get to training a little bit later, like they're very understanding with I guess the commitment and the balancing act that comes with the NRLW. So yeah, there might be an occasional, I guess in pre-season, sometimes there's Saturday trainings, and obviously our whole weekends in season are taken up by it, but they can't actually put anything in the morning or the midday sort of sessions like the men.
Yeah.
It's very much, it has to be after 4 p.m. so the girls can still work.
Yeah, right. Okay, fair enough. Another one?
Well,
We did have a bit of a run
we
sheet
do, yeah,
here.
we do
We've
have-
gone sideways a little bit.
yeah, we've gone
That's
out of
all
track
right.
here.
Well,
That's
so
okay.
you're signed on till 26, is that right?
Yeah.
Again, you talk about how old you are. You know, one of the grannies of the club, I think you said before. Like 26, by the time you get to 2027, 28, 29, like do you have a projected timeline of how many more years you might want to play? Are you thinking you'd go coaching or another role within the club, being it Eels or any sort of NRLW club? Like, are you just going to try and play for as long as possible? Is that the goal?
That is the goal, really, at the end of the day. I don't have a set in stone plan of what I want to do.
Yeah,
I
of
know
course.
that I want to stay involved, as you said, in either the club or in the game itself. And whether that comes in the form of coaching or even just running orange blue shirt assistant coaching, whatever it might be, I would love to stay involved somehow because I do just love the game. But the and I feel like I'm just harping on about like the challenges in female sport, but the other thing that I guess people forget is that women are the childbearing or the child carriers of families. So a lot of, I guess, good careers will probably be cut short because of challenges like that. And as I said, I don't have a plan, but there might come a time where I have to hang up the boots because there's other priorities in life, unfortunately. And it is possible to come back, but you just never know. So I don't know. I don't have an age. I don't have
That's fair.
cut off. I don't have any other. I don't have a plan at all, really. The goal is to just play as long as possible and go with what feels right.
I like that.
And then this is probably more. I don't know if do you do a little bit of clinics. Do Camden try and get you back in the off season to sort of help a little bit with the growth of the women's game in Group 6 as well, or do they sort of? And do you want to move down that path as well, sort of just to help
Grassroots
the
type stuff.
grassroots, yeah, sort of giving back to the community kind of thing, even though,
You already are.
yeah.
I have done a little bit with Camden, just kind of like little, I guess, appearances as such. I've done a little bit of one-on-one coaching with a few girls around the area, but I haven't. It is tricky because I would love to do it. It's just the time aspect of it, in terms of a regular commitment. But yeah, not so much as of yet. But again, that is something that I'd definitely be interested in potentially even after I stop playing. Like that's another avenue I can go down because I would love to give back, but it just comes down to the time, unfortunately.
Cameron asked you to come back, H, to give any coaching tips every year. So maybe you could link up.
Well, they got voted the number one first grade, so I don't think they need me this year.
I didn't know if you'd be helping out with first grade.
No.
One of the great wingers of all time.
Absolutely.
I believe I've watched H play football several times over the years.
There you go.
That's what got her in the pool.
Is that what got you in? Did you want to be a winger, but you got pushed to fullback?
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what it was. Yeah, I got all my tips off H.
Yeah.
Speaking of tips, and again, I assume that your story is probably similar to a lot of other players, that would have come through at the same time, with COVID and that big jump with sides coming in. Again, you took up footy quite late when we consider what, the guys in rugby league, they've probably been playing footy, a lot of them, since they were probably under fives, under sixes. And so you've taken up footy later in your career. What would be, I don't know, whether you know much about the pathways. Is there much that you have to do with the pathways for the under 17s or 19s? What's the tips out there for the girls if they're listening? I'm going to try and plug this to a couple of young girls in the area that, but like, what's their tips? How do they get through the system? What should they be striving for? Again, yours might have just fell into place. But have you got anything for the young girls out there?
I guess it is hard, but I guess it's going to sound really simple, but you just have to start, and I think, unfortunately, I remember when I first started, there was a lot of chat about women playing football, and I remember even telling my dad I wanted to play, and him going, "Oh, why would you want to do that? You're not going to play rugby league. It's just this stigma around it. It's a men's sport."
Have you reminded him of that moment where he said you'll probably never play rugby league anyway?
I haven't, but I might. I might just go and put my trophy on his bedside table or something.
Absolutely. Just go, here's something. What have your other kids done?
About to say.
Oh yeah, my siblings would love that. But no, he was I think he forgets that he probably had that opinion, because as soon as I started playing, he was my biggest fan, and he doesn't miss a game. So they were actually at Oktoberfest when the awards were on overseas, so they were trying to watch it on KO. So they were fine. He's funny now.
Those sorts of things for you were, even just the general societal opinion of women in sport, women in rugby league, was that also like one of the big motivators for you? Like, having not played rugby league as a kid, being a netball, maybe a bit of Oztag and whatnot, was that also like a bit of a motivator going, no, you know what? I'm going to take every chance I get and I'm going to be good at it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then as we sort of were talking about before the technical difficulties, like, I just think you just need to start, like, you just need to give something a go. And I think my story is probably a representation of what can happen if you do. And I know I still get a lot of young girls at the moment, or parents of young girls, who ask me like, how did you get into it? And aren't you scared? And don't you get hurt? And all these sorts of things. And you don't know if it's for you until you start, but like, you won't know that it's a lot of fun and that it is a great game if you don't start as well. So I think you just have to get into it. All
right, I'm going to go a couple little rapid fire questions here.
Oh God, I'm terrible at this.
Toughest opponent?
Team or person?
Opponent. Toughest opponent, singular, especially as a fullback. Toughest opponent for you that you've played against?
There's a couple. As a small little fullback, I hate being on the try line with the front rowers running at you, but Amber Hall is very, very hard to stop. And then there's a couple. Shannon Matto, Shannon Matto is one of the loveliest people ever, but on the football field, if she's running at me, it's very, very hard to stop. She's
best try you've scored. It's a good one.
Best try I've scored?
Yeah.
Oh, there hasn't been many.
I think 9. I think 9 actually.
Oh, best try I've scored. I can't even remember, to be honest.
Debut.
Was that bad?
I would say debut.
Oh, actually, I do have one. It was in the semi-final against the Roosters in 2022. And I guess, I don't know why it's my favorite, but I just remember, I guess stepping off my left foot into the corner, and we won that game and got into the grand final that year. So obviously it contributed somehow. But.
Yeah, nice. So toughest opponent before. What about your teammate that you want on your side? Who's the best teammate? Who's like and you can obviously say, oh, they're all great, but who's the best teammate that you want side by side, running out, running into the line?
I have two for two very different same reason, but two very different reasons. Elsie, for an obvious reason, she's very, very tough and strong, and she does a lot of grunt work for us. And then Kennedy Charrington. She's
I thought you'd say
Yeah.
Kennedy because I'm pretty sure she looked after you in that last game that she played. Was it the last game that she played this year before she hurt herself?
Is that the one she got sent off?
Yeah, where she got sent off. I think she was looking out for you.
No, she was looking out for her sister, and I was
Yes,
the fight because I knew it was going to happen. I was looking out for her, but
yes, yeah,
no,
that's fair.
she's one of those players that she will give everything, and she is all for her teammates. So she's one of the best teammates to play with.
Yeah. You know?
If you could play for another team, who would it be? If
None.
None?
Parramatta through and through.
Oh, there you go.
Come to the red and white.
She doesn't
Come
want
on.
to, she doesn't want
No.
to.
Nah, she can't. She can't say she's going anywhere. Obviously. No, that's cool. Abs, thanks so much. This has been awesome. Again, appreciate your time. I think there's going to be a lot of listeners and viewers that are going to appreciate this. You know, it's been one of the great chats. So yeah. Got anything else?
No. Good luck.
Good luck next year.
No, thanks guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it. So